Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. I am Ryan and this is Auto Detour. Today I have a very special day planned for you. We are at one of the most ridiculously awesome garages I've ever been to in my life. You can see this is just the garage behind me. We're here at a friend Josh's house and he's going to show us around his collection of cars. We're going to go inside, we're going to talk to Josh. He's going to give us a look around and tell us a little bit about his cars. But once we get in there, you'll see why this is one of the most amazing garages I've visited in my life. So let's head on in and take a look. Alright guys, what do you think? This is Josh's garage. We're just going to go down the line here and take a look at each one of the cars individually. And then Josh is going to come in here in a minute and we'll talk to him a little bit, get his inside input on owning these cars, what they're like to drive and own. Let's go take a look at each one of the cars here.
All right, so first off, we have that's so helpful.
Scott. Sorry.
Thank you. Be a part of the solution, not the problem.
Not the problem.
So first off, we have this blue Porsche 996 that Josh has been so kind to let someone store in his garage for him. So moving down the line here, we have a beautiful Ultima GTR. Josh, I know, added this red striped detail up the center, which looks really nice to show the airflow coming from the front and up the car. Right here we have a absolutely amazing Ferrari F430 Scuderia. Moving down the line, we have this beautiful blue Lamborghini Murcielago. And this Murcielago has one of my favorite specs. It's this blue, I can't remember the name of the blue, we'll ask Josh here in a minute, but then it has the tan light cream interior. Not sure the color of that either. I'm not real familiar with the exact names. But look at these wheels he has on this thing. The dish on these things is, you can fit my hand in there. That is just ridiculous. So some of the best wheels that I've seen on the Murcielago. And we got the carbon fiber detail in the headlight here. And yeah, what a just breathtaking car. But we'll talk to Josh a little bit more about that one, let him tell us about it. So here we have a classic. It's a Toyota Supra. It's been converted to single turbo with the 2JZ. We'll ask Josh about the specs on it here in a little bit. Got an awesome lift here, and the tool setup so organized. I really admire Josh's organization. I could use a little bit of that in my garage, as you have probably seen. So move on over here. He's got his office in here. Little lounge area for some hangout time. He's got not one, but 2 RWB Porsches that were built here in his garage. Just look at the size of this wide body kit. Installed by RWB. And so here's the second RWB in this amazing green color, and got the rotiform wheels on it. And just look at these back wheels side by side. The dish on those things is just crazy. Look at, put my hand in there, these things are just huge. Look at this gap on this fender. I can't even fit my finger in there. Just look at that. Just what a fun car. Let's go over here and see Scott. I think Scott's gone in the Ferrari and never coming out. Alright, here we're going to open the scissor door on a Lamborghini Murcielago. Go ahead and reach your fingers here under the handle, put your arm under this bolster here, and just lift. Not a bad day when you open up the door to your Lamborghini to the view of your Ferrari right next door. One of the coolest things I've ever seen. Alright guys, we're in Josh's garage. I want you to meet Josh.
How's it going?
This is Josh. These are his cars, with exception to the one Porsche that I pointed out in the corner over there. He's storing that for a friend. So Josh, let's start with the first car out of the collection of these that you picked up and what got you to that point.
Sure. The first car that I picked up in this collection was the 2008 Ferrari Scuderia. I got that from Ferrari of San Francisco, probably about 5 years ago.
Okay.
I had never owned a Ferrari before this one. I always considered myself a Lamborghini guy. I had a 04 Gallardo before this, and an R8. But I wanted the Ferrari experience, and I felt that nothing better encapsulated that than a Scuderia.
So yeah, so tell us, so some people may not be aware that a Scuderia is not a typical 430. So tell us your favorite things about why you chose a Scuderia over a 430.
Yeah, so the Scuderia is basically the street legal track version of a Ferrari F430. It has significant weight reduction, a few hundred pounds. It's got a little more horsepower, much better tires. It has a substantially better street feel. You really feel everything. There's no sound deadening. It is a very visceral car.
Yeah.
And it's just an absolute blast to drive. It's very comparable to sort of a Porsche GT3, just with that very direct feeling.
Okay, cool. So you got the Ferrari.
Yep.
Were there any other cars you had at the time, or you sold the Gallardo to get the Ferrari?
No, I had the Gallardo and an R8.
Okay.
At the time, I ended up selling my Gallardo just because it was a 2004, and it just didn't feel nearly as fast.
Okay.
So the Scuderia sort of ruined me for my my initial love, which I had had for 6 years.
Yeah.
And the R8 I eventually sold because my wife and I had our first child, and so we needed more seats.
Come on.
Which is where
2 is not enough.
Which is where we ultimately ended up with the Porsches. But yeah, that's Scuderia is an F1.
Okay.
So this is the only F1 car here.
So does it come with an option of a manual, or they're all F1?
They are all F1.
Okay.
It is a different single clutch transmission than you get in the normal F430.
Okay.
At least from my recollection, that's true. I think that's true.
Yeah, I'm sure somebody will
correct
let
me.
us know.
Yeah. It's at least a different ECU. We'll say that.
Yeah. So then you got the Ferrari. Obviously, you haven't gotten rid of it.
Yep.
What was the car that came next?
The car that came next is this Ultima GTR. This is a British track car. It is surprisingly street legal. I started looking for one of these in 2009, and I found a guy in San Francisco, actually, who had one, who was thinking of selling it, and he ultimately, at the end of the day, decided he wasn't ready to sell it. And so again, in 2013, I reached out to him again and asked him if he would have any interest in parting with the car, and he did. So I ended up purchasing this from him. I had it for about 3 years, and then this last spring, it underwent a bit of a renovation, where I tore the whole thing apart, did a lot of interior changes. I changed all the switch gear, added a RFID steering wheel with all the steering wheel direct controls, put in basically a Bluetooth start system, full-time backup camera, and then added this basically Pagani Cinque style wrap. So the car previously was just all black.
Okay, so it looks like a sort of is it a pearl white?
Yeah. It's a pearl white, basically on the top half of the car with the red racing stripe.
Okay.
It is very much inspired by the Pagani Zonda Cinque.
Yeah.
I also added LED taillights as well. A lot of LED upgrades to it. So nothing major. No suspension. No engine changes.
Okay, so I know a lot of people aren't going to be familiar with the Ultima GTR.
Sure.
So tell us a little bit about gearbox, drivetrain,
Yep.
chassis.
Yep. So an Ultima GTR basically exists on the concept of power to weight ratio. So the whole car weighs about 2,300, 2,400 pounds. It's powered by a American Speed Chevy V8. It's got, I believe, 478 horsepower. And that is actually not a lot of horsepower for an Ultima.
Okay.
Most Ultimas these days will have somewhere between 700 to 800 horsepower. So it's a very fast car. It has no driver aids whatsoever. There's no ABS. There's no power steering. No power brakes. It is a very raw track car for the street. If you know how to drive it, it is exceptionally fast.
Yeah.
I wouldn't actually know because I am not an experienced driver, so I tend to keep at speeds in which I will stay alive.
Yeah. So basically, it's just trying to kill you.
Yes, yeah, more or less. It's got a Porsche G50 transmission in it.
Okay.
So
because it's rear engine.
Mid-engine, but yeah,
mid-engine.
But yeah, it's actually one of my favorite cars just because I really enjoyed the process of taking it apart and putting it back together.
Yeah.
It's a car that you can really kind of make your own. I mean, for example, it has no windows. I have removed the windows just because previously it had completely fixed windows, and I just prefer kind of more of an open cockpit, and it's the kind of car that you can pull the windows out and no one cares.
Right.
Nobody's
going to know the difference.
Certainly couldn't do that with a Scuderia, for example.
Right.
I very much enjoyed this car, and it's one that I intend to keep in the collection for some time.
Yeah. Well, it's absolutely beautiful car. I mean, this is the only one I've ever seen. So
okay.
People that aren't in I'm sure the Ultima GTR community don't see these.
I think there's one other in Portland that's actually all black. Those are the only Oregon cars that I know of.
Okay.